spent all of your life working hard and have become mature Americans and retired there. I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. I am your host, Ken McClinton. I am graced this particular evening with Andy Mangione at AMAC. Is the Association of Mature Americans, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we call it AMAC. And I learned stuff. I learned stuff quickly. And listen, you can't go wrong when you have 2.2 million Americans who are conservative and faithful to this particular republic and the great people in this nation who want the right things done. Andy, I'm so glad that you're with us tonight because it was you at AMAC who were fighting a fight that AARP refused and bowed to when nearly 50% of the Americans that were dying during the pandemic were seniors. There was silence out of AARP, but your voice was heard out of AMAC. Tell us exactly what you all were doing during that time period.
I'd be happy to, Ken. And if I could just start off if people want to hear about us and want to learn about us, they go to amac.us, amac.us. That's our website. And thank you for letting me get that plug in there. I appreciate that. We're talking about COVID-19. We're talking about vulnerable people, older people that have compromised health conditions, people that you find in nursing homes, people that you find in hospitals. Early on in the pandemic, 5 governors in New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and California mandated that COVID-19 contagious patients and COVID-19 sick patients be discharged from hospitals into nursing homes and long-term care facilities. Now, then we saw a disproportionate spike in nursing home deaths and long-term care facility deaths in those 5 states. We're talking over 40,000 deaths as a result of these mandates. So AMAC has been working with the House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus crisis. We're working with Congressman Steve Scalise, who's the minority whip in Congress. He's the number 2 Republican over in the House, but he's also the ranking member on this coronavirus crisis subcommittee. And what he did a couple of months ago was send letters to those 5 governors demanding accountability. He wanted to know what was the science they used to make these decisions, because and he's very valid in asking these questions. We wanted the mistakes that were made during this pandemic, particularly to the most vulnerable, which were, like any other flu, the elderly and people with compromised health conditions. So the Democrats on the subcommittee were providing cover for these governors, and all they want to do is blame President Trump for these nursing home deaths. But Steve Scalise and his minority members are working to get to the bottom of this. We've been working with the subcommittee on a couple of different occasions. The first thing we did was have our members send over 4,500 emails to these governors in these 5 states collectively to ask them why they did what they did. And do they plan on doing it again? Should there be a surge? And just share with us the logic, and will you be held accountable? So, and you mentioned before, AMAC is the only large member benefits seniors organization that are demanding answers from these governors. Not too long ago. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If I could interject, I want to ask this question. I want to play devil's advocate here. Okay, because somehow these Democrat Marxist governors and state local leaders need to be protected. So that's my job as an exceptional conservative. So let me play back a little devil's advocate here. In the sense that the CDC was very slow in telling these governors what to do with the elderly and seniors during this time period. So they were left with nothing else but to do what they did. Is that incorrect?
That response that's an excuse, okay? Because CMS had very clear guidelines, and may I quote them? I'd love to quote them right now. They had very clear guidelines on how to handle these types of patients, Ken. All right. The guidance issued by the Centers for Medicaid Services in March of this year was clear. Nursing homes should admit any individual that they would normally admit to their facility, including individuals from hospitals where a case of COVID-19 was or is present, but only if that nursing home can follow CDC quarantining guidance. This was according to CMS, and CMS Administrator Seema Verma underscored this guidance by saying, under no, and I'm quoting, under no circumstances should a hospital discharge a patient to a nursing home that is not prepared to take care of those patients' needs, end quote. This guidance was issued in March. So the guidance was there. They're hiding behind the fact that these nursing homes weren't prepared, but clearly the guidance came out before the mandates.
Now, Dr. Fauci states that you're accurate and true, that that documentation was there. But Governor Cuomo and others have responded that it was Donald Trump's fault for not outlining to them what they wanted to do with the lives of those seniors. And if he had just shut off Europeans from coming here, the seniors would not have suffered like that. Is that accurate and true?
You know, they've been blaming the president for everything. This president could come up with the cure for cancer, and they still find a way to have a problem with him. What the president did was follow the Constitution, and he left major decisions with regard to this pandemic, as he lawfully should have, up to the states. Okay, and the governors came up with these mandates. So, and keep in mind that when his first inclination was to cut off travel to the hotspots, to Italy and other parts of Europe, as well as China, he was called he was called a nationalist, he was called a xenophobe, he was called all kinds of names. And that's when you had Nancy Pelosi running out to Chinatown in San Francisco saying, come on, this is no big deal, come down and have fun. When the president first wanted to, when he first restricted travel, which was later borne out by Dr. Fauci to have potentially saved thousands and thousands of lives, that decision alone.
Well, just for a add of impropriety here, I want to ask you in all sincerity, should Dr. Fauci have asked someone else to throw out the first pitch at the Washington Nationals game? Because he really sucked.
You know, I see you saw the video. I think we all did.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. I want to move from here because, as you can tell, if the Democrat Marxist governors are so tyrannical as to put seniors who have been ailed by COVID into senior centers, that there doesn't seem to be a great respect for the rights, the voting rights of these same seniors. And so many of the Democrat Marxists have planned senior centers to become their voting harvest centers. And if you could explain to the American people the ingenuity, the malicious ingenuity of the Democrat Marxists in terms of making senior centers their places of harvesting the mail-in ballots.
The harvesting ballots, yeah. I mean, this is a real problem, Ken, and this is something that is handled state by state. And what we're seeing and what we've seen before, but probably not to this degree in recent memory, is a scaring of our nation's seniors, scaring these people. Not only, you know, we can talk about harvesting ballots, but they're going to be dropping off a ton of ballots at these potentially. Okay, I mean, this is the plan. I don't have the plan in front of me, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out what their plan is.
Exactly.
And I mean, this is what we suspect is going to happen. Is that if they focus in on senior centers where people are literally held captive. I mean, there's other organizations that want to see their grandparents, that want to see their parents, and they can't get in to see these people. How many times have you driven by a long-term care facility or a nursing home and seen people on the outside looking in, waving to their parents on the inside? So, you know, what we suspect is going to happen is part of the plan to steal this election is ballots being dropped off at senior centers, at nursing homes, filled up by who knows, we're going to be filling these up, filling these out, and then picked up and taken back down to the polling station to be counted as legitimate. We don't know how many. I mean, it's going to be disruptive. All right. It's going to be very. This is something that has to be looked at. And when I talk about the scaring of seniors, that's only one aspect. There are seniors that are postponing. AMAC is part of a coalition of physician and patient advocates. It's a great group called Free to Care. So we deal and we talk and we work with a lot of physicians. These physicians are putting out information pieces on seniors who are too afraid to go get that funny mole checked out, who aren't going to go to get their cancer screening because they're afraid they're going to get sick if they go to the doctor's office or if they go to an outpatient facility. And what's going to happen, there's going to be a price to pay, not only in terms of health, but in terms of cost to the healthcare center when all these people who should have had a screening but were afraid to get one because of COVID-19, because of all the fear-mongering done by the mainstream media, are going to either get sick and hopefully not die, but get sick and for something that could have been screened had they kept their normal appointment, put on a mask, but they're frightened. They're frightened to see a doctor. They're frightened to leave their homes. And the Democrats are totally exploiting this with regard to this election. They're going to use it as a tool to try and take this election away. I don't know if they're going to be successful.
I hope not.
I hope not. But let me go back to a point that a lot of people don't understand. The whole concept here that
someone from the
outside can get permission to come in.
But there have been
children and friends and family members don't have access to these individuals. Can you speak to how that may impact someone who may be 75 years old in this particular place?
Are you talking about someone that may come in there? Are you talking about to collect a vote? Or are you talking about somebody other than their family?
And vote, because they haven't been able to see their families because of COVID-19.
Right.
Think about the waiting process.
Yeah.
But someone else can come in and sit down with them, and I mean, they're starving for affection.
Right.
They're starving for attention.
Yes, they are.
Am I correct?
You're absolutely right. We've been in touch with folks that coming to us. We're in touch with our members, and I can't stress this enough, Ken. We're a member-driven organization. We poll our members on a weekly basis. We speak with them. There's a lot of communication with our members. We get our marching orders with regard to issues and what we advocate for on behalf of the membership from the members. Okay. And what we're seeing, we're hearing stories of isolation. We're hearing stories of loneliness. We're hearing stories of depression. Because people don't have the social interaction. They can't interact with their family. We're hearing people from throughout the country whose loved ones are dying alone because they can't get in to be with them during their last moments because of this pandemic. Some of them are in these 5 states that I mentioned before. Some of them are not. And so there's a huge social impact, and there's a huge impact on their mental health as well. And we're seeing this manifest, and we're hearing this from the physicians that partner with the coalition. So this is much more than just a pandemic that we're trying to contain or a virus that we're trying to control. We're going to be dealing with the fallout from the decisions that were made during this pandemic for years to come.
And you got to ask you real quick before we go. What should a caring
son like myself do if his parents are in some type of living arrangement right now, a senior center? What should we do in terms of protecting their right to vote? What should we do in terms of making sure they get the right quality care?
That's a great question. Okay, there are elder care advisors throughout, in every state. Okay, that I'm sure are bombarded that can point you in the right direction. I'm not necessarily talking about. There are advocates. Okay, there are elder care advocates throughout the country. And I would reach out to an elder care advocate, explain what your concerns are, and I would take their counsel. I would seek their counsel as well, and be forthright, be frank, and be an advocate on behalf of your folks, but be vigilant because this is what we're commanded to do as loyal sons and daughters. We care for the most vulnerable of our society, the very young, the very old, and the infirmed.
How can people get in contact with AMAC and AMAC Action?
Well, if you want to check us out and learn more about AMAC, you can go to amac.us. That's amac.us. I mentioned that it costs $16 to join. It includes you and your spouse, so it's $16 per household. We have a full member benefit roster chock full of all kinds of products that we make available to our lifestyle products. We make available to our members at discounted prices, travel discounts, restaurant discounts, etc. So you go to amac.us. But if you want to get involved, join AMAC, okay? And if you want to get involved and become an AMAC delegate, you can go to there. You can a couple of ways to do that. You can dial. Let me pull out the number here because it just ran away from me. I'm sorry. Give me a second here. I've got to put on my shiny glasses here, okay? I apologize. I had it here and then I read you the quote.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Okay, here it is. It's 855-809-6976. That's AMAC Action. That's our grassroots advocacy organization, the organization I work for. 855-809-6976. And you can speak live to one of our advocate counselors, and they'll be happy to talk to you, let you know about how you can get involved. But join AMAC first. This AMAC Action Advocacy is a member benefit of AMAC. So you can go to amac.us to join us.
Andy,
thank you so much for calling on you during this election season to work with our seniors and discuss these things along the way. Thank you so much for spending time with us this evening.
My pleasure, Ken. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Mangione is the Vice President of Government Relations at AMAC Action. You can find him at delegate chapters, but I would encourage you all, join AMAC. Now, Andy messed it up for me. I told my wife it was $86 to join because I was going to use the other $70 to get a bowling ball. But it only takes $16, ladies and gentlemen, to actually join AMAC for you and your fam. Do it today. It is much better than AARP because now you have someone who is in your corner who is really fighting for you and what you believe in. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for tuning in and watching tonight, the Exceptional Conservative Show. We have to take a quick commercial break. When we come back from that commercial break, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking about what Congressman McCarthy laid out in terms of the agenda for winning the House back to the GOP. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I've been telling you all this since, oh my God, last year. When everyone said, Ken, there is no way you could even win a seat out of New Mexico. There's a possibility we could win a New Mexico seat. There's a possibility, ladies and gentlemen, that we could win the House back. Tune back in. We'll tell you all about that. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll be right back with more of the best right after these messages.